5:15 p.m. For the regular session, Wednesday, May 26th. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you all. This is actually our first meeting without masks. I want to remind everybody, before we get started, that if you are not fully vaccinated, please wear a mask. If you are fully vaccinated, congratulations. Thank you. And we'll move on. Mr. Zerlo, would you please conduct the roll?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Conroy.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Kretzer. Here. Mr. Perrier.
Here.
Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of the May 12th, 2021 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. I have a motion for Legislator Hall, second for Legislator Waldron. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Tonight, first order of business is we will conduct a public hearing on local law number 1, which is a local law adopting a pilot youth deer hunting program. And I would like to ask the clerk of the board to please read the notice of public hearing.
Certainly. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Legislators will conduct a public hearing regarding local law number 1 of 2021 titled A Local Law Adopting Pilot Youth Deer Hunting Program, which shall be held Wednesday, May 26, 2021 at 5:15 p.m. in the Legislative Chambers, 137 Margaret Street, Plattsburgh, New York, at which time all persons interested shall be heard.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing. We have a motion to open the public hearing. I have a motion by Legislator Hughes, second by Legislator Potiker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is there anyone present here tonight that would like to address the board regarding the matter of youth deer hunting? Youth deer hunting. Now the time to speak. Anyone at all? Okay. Hearing no one. I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing. I have a motion by Legislator Hall, second by Legislator Timmons. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Oh, right here. All right. We'll now go into our regular meeting. I will now recognize those members of the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the legislature. Please raise your hand if you wish to be recognized, state your name and address for the record, and in accordance with the rule of order, all speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Is there anybody who would like to address the legislature at this time? Yes, sir.
Can I come there?
Yes, please, so everybody can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Michael Carpenter. I'm here to talk about the Clinton County Nursing Home. Thank you for your time and thank you for your 5 minutes. I would ask as a point of order, I have 11 guests with me. Are they all afforded the 5 minutes as well, or would you like me to speak for 55?
Well, that'd be 55 minutes.
55 minutes, that'd be a long time.
You can do it.
I'd ask you just not to cut me off if I run to 6 or 7.
We can probably negotiate that.
Thank you for that. So, my mother and the loved ones of the people that are sitting here are residents at the Clinton County Nursing Home. I want to start by telling you that the staff and the care that my mother and the loved ones of these people receive is exemplary. It's terrific. It's been terrific. The last 14 months have been hell for you. They've been hell for me. They've been hell for the residents, and it's been hell for the people who work there. We understand all that. We do collectively have some concerns with management and some of the things that are going on at the Clinton County Nursing Home. And we thought it was appropriate to come and express them. And then in typical fashion, for anybody that knows me, I'm not just going to come here and vent my frustration or their frustration. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I think we could do together to make it better so that we're comfortable, you're comfortable, and the staff over there is comfortable. But I will start by putting it in context that There's an administration over there that is fairly unresponsive to the needs and concerns of the people that are sitting to my right and probably other people. I have literally dozens, maybe 3 dozens of emails and voice messages that have been left for administration at the nursing home unreturned since the beginning of this year. I will gladly email them to you. I didn't have time to put them in a packet and give them all to you, but I have them. I will gladly email them. Just tell me how to go ahead and do that. Secondly, there is a committee, and I don't know who's on the committee. It is the Human Services Committee that oversees the nursing home, to my understanding. So I went through over the last 4 days the minutes of your meetings from November of last year through the most recent meeting. 2 times was the word COVID mentioned in that Human Services meeting. Yet COVID has been prevalent for 14 months. The nursing homes have gotten a bad rap. Old people are susceptible to this, and it's only been talked about once. I would have thought that would have been a standing item. Now, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe the minutes don't clearly state it. Maybe it was discussed. But all I have are the public minutes that you guys put out, and literally there were only 2 mentions of COVID, with one exception. Mr. Conroy in early November brought up at 3 different meetings the ability to open a warming shelter that was supposed to be open by Thanksgiving to allow visitations for us with our loved ones at the nursing home. That apparently went nowhere because nobody, to my knowledge, on this side of the room heard anything about warming shelters for Thanksgiving. So my 80-plus-year-old mother, who is suffering from all kinds of things, couldn't have her family at Thanksgiving. We think that that's unacceptable. And the next piece is I looked at a ton of data from the New York State Department of Health, the CDC, all of the agencies that we all say we're following. Then I took 6 random nursing homes from New York State. I didn't stock the docket. I just went and found 6 random nursing homes, and I did the studies. And here are the similarities and the glaring differences that I found between the 2 with regards to visitations, because that's really what we're here talking about. We want some of the restrictions that are over the top at the Clinton County Nursing Home removed, and we want them removed quickly. Our parents and our loved ones are dying over there. That's why they're there. We want to be able to see them. But think about this. So of the 6 of those places that I looked at, all 6 of them have regularly scheduled hours for visitation, even though you have to call. This nursing home does not have regularly scheduled hours, or they're at least not posted. 5 of the 6 allow private visitations either in the residence rooms or a separate room that is private. This does not. You go into the cafeteria and it's like a zoo, literally. Your person is here, somebody's is next to you, 6 feet away, somebody's is next to you. No private visitations, or at least there wasn't a few days ago. All have very few restrictions on frequency of visits. For us, we have to call the activities department, find out from the activities department when they'll allow us to come in and visit them scheduled around their schedule, not around the resident's schedule, not around our schedule, around the employee's schedule is what I perceive. All of them allow for at least 1 hour of visitation. This nursing home's visitation policy is 15 minutes. Imagine visiting with somebody who doesn't even know who you are for 15 minutes, and that includes the time that you come into the nursing home and the time that you leave. That's crazy. It should be an hour. Mask wearing mandatory, we're all fine with that. We don't care. I wear my mask. I'm fully vaccinated. I shouldn't have to, but if that's the case. Social distancing required, we're fine with that. You want to make us social distance, we'll live with that. Do you realize that you're not allowed to bring gifts into the nursing home? Do all of you understand that? I can't bring my mother a gift. I can't bring her a t-shirt. I looked at the CDC site. They don't have one listed case of transmission of this illness via somebody giving somebody a piece of jewelry or shirt. Not one. Yet I can't bring a gift in and give it to my mother. That is absolutely, absolutely crazy. And all visits are supervised, meaning that I have a nurse or somebody right with me while I'm with my mother. And my assumption from some of the emails that I read is that happens because they don't trust that I won't take my mask off or violate the protocols, which is absolutely crazy. So every visit is 100% supervised. What we're asking for, and this is the important part, we're not asking for much, but what we're asking for, regular hours for visitations at the nursing home posted and public that include some off hours, not 10 to 4, Monday through Friday when many of us are working. We need some off hours to be able to accommodate that. In-room or private setting visits if they're in a shared room. Doesn't matter to me if it's in a separate lounge or something like that, but it should be a private room. Leave the doors open. I'm fine with people checking, but I don't want to have a nurse or somebody that works in the nursing home in there the whole time that I'm visiting with my loved one, nor do I think the other people here want to. Minimum 1 hour time visit for visitations for all of us. Frequency of visits not limited to a certain amount per week or a certain amount per month, which has been kind of the unwritten rule over there. You have to call and it's like, well, you've been in 3 times and we need to accommodate the other people. This isn't a prison, folks. This is a nursing home where people go after they've been contributing members to this society for years. The ability to bring gifts to our loved ones makes no sense to me, and better communication between those people that run the nursing home and the people that care about their loved ones. And I will tell you quite candidly, I can be a pain in the ass. Maybe some of the people here can be a pain in the ass. That doesn't absolve the administration of the nursing home from responding to our inquiries. It's unfair. None of you would put up with it. I shouldn't have to put up with it, nor should the people that sit here have to put up with it. It's maddening to me. And I'll give you 2 other quick tidbits of information, and then I promise to stop. There's an article by the New England Journal of Medicine published on May 19th that tested 13,500 nursing home residents who were 2 weeks past their second vaccination. 38 positive cases, 9 of them mildly symptomatic. That is 0.0007% of fully vaccinated people in the nursing home are testing positive for COVID. Yet we're restricting visits for fully vaccinated people from fully vaccinated people. Makes absolutely no sense to me. And lastly, there's 80 residents in that nursing home or thereabout. If you open it up for 9 hours a day, 6 days a week, you could allow 4 residents to be visited twice a week. So every resident could have 2 visits a week, and you would only need to be open 9 hours a day to do that. That's what the math says. So I'll wrap this up by telling you, I took the time to do my research. I took the time to do the math. And it doesn't appear that the administration at your nursing home and my nursing home is doing what they're supposed to in the care and custody of our loved ones to allow us to be with them. My mother, we have pictures, I don't have them with me, and I'm sorry my voice cracks. The deterioration in the people from 14 months ago to today, because they do not have personal contact with their loved ones, is absolutely criminal. It's criminal, it shouldn't happen, and I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, I'm begging with you to step up and do something about it. Please don't push this off as an issue. I want to be able to go in and give my mother a hug and a kiss and tell her I love her and spend some time with her. Thank you. Was I over 5 minutes?
No, actually, you're pretty good.
Pretty close.
Thank you, Mike.
Considering you're 55. Yes, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry, son, I'll get you next.
My name is Amy Gehrig, and I am the Ombudsman, which is the advocate for residents in long-term care settings. I cover Clinton, Essex, and Franklin County. And what they are asking for is all allowable via the regulations. Pull up the March 26th regulations that have been put out by the state of New York. The deterioration of these residents is staggering. We have lost hundreds in our 3 counties from this regulations put in place to protect our residents. The number of cases in our county are minimal at best. They don't come close to putting any concern that is being put into the nursing homes, restricting. We have 2 nursing homes right now that have visitation 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You come to the front door, you are checked, your temperature is taken, you answer your questions, and you go masked directly to the resident's room. The only restriction by DOH is that if it's a roommate situation, is that you don't have 2 people in the room at the same time. So both families could not have a visit. That's the restriction. They are allowed to touch their loved ones. Did any of you bring your pictures?
In the car.
It is staggering the changes in these residents over this time period. When we re-entered the building in March, I was shocked. at the pictures of the changes in our residents. One particular resident, he was a social butterfly, a flirt of the facility, walking all over the place. He is now in a wheelchair, not walking, and looks as if he has aged over 20 years. This is what the restrictions are doing. And for the past year, facilities have been allowed to pick and choose and interpret the regulations. But that time is over. And we need someone to step up and make sure that this happens. And I don't know how you pass this around though so people can see it. Are we allowed to walk around and see these pictures? These are families and the difference. And you just need to understand it, and it's hard to understand the reality of what the residents have had to deal with. And when Mike described it as a prisoner visitation, this is worse than a prisoner visitation, because you are allowed to hug in a prison. So I thank you for your time. I am available for questions anytime. My number is 518-562-1732. It's a 24-hour cell phone. I don't take it to bed with me, or I would get no sleep, and I get very little as it is. But I thank you, and if there's anything you can do to change the choices that are being made at Clinton County Nursing Home, I'm sure that every family member here, and I know all my residents, would be deeply, deeply appreciative.
Ma'am, what was your name?
Amy Gehrig, G-E-H-R-I-G.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Mr. Henry, Mr. Henry, I won't take up more of
Go
your
ahead.
time and we're gonna exit. Would you like me to send, I have an email that encapsulates everything that I
I'll
have,
take it.
including pictures. Would you like me to send it to you, Mike?
Yeah, or from you.
Okay, I will take care of that.
Can I just say one?
Mr. Conroy, you had a question?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Mr. Carpenter for, having the, it takes a lot to go up and talk about an issue like this, especially when it's involving a family member. You've done a lot for the community on a whole different topic with MHAB. The nursing home has been challenging. One of the reasons you might not have seen a lot of talk about COVID in the nursing home in the human services minutes is it was of utmost importance to all of us to talk about it when we were all together. So several times we ended up having that discussion more either at finance or at the regular session when we were all here. But it's our intention to not let something like COVID and not allowing visitation of a nursing home or the jail or our schools or however our society is running. We don't want COVID to lead to the new norm. So we hear you, we agree with you. We will actively talk to administration, we will actively make sure we understand what is allowable by the state and make sure we're not being too strict compared to what the state's allowing. All I can tell you is that we're all passionate about this issue. We do hear you, we do understand, and you coming here will help move it along faster, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Just really quick, my name is Dana LePage, and my mother is a resident at the nursing home, and I just want to speak on behalf of my father, who has been married to my mother for 58 years this August. My mother's been in a nursing home facility since 2015, this one since 2016. We moved her here because the care she was getting previously was abysmal at best. What I want to leave you with is this thought. On March 16th last year, my father went to see my mother and held her hand and said goodbye because he thought he would never see her again. It was 382 days before he was allowed to see her. She suffers from dementia and Alzheimer's. She cannot communicate. His visits, 10 days apart at best, have been separated by 6, sometimes 12 feet. She can't hear, she can't see, she no longer opens her eyes. The only way to communicate with her is through touch, and he can't touch her. When he was allowed to give her a hug at the first visit that allowed a brief embrace and then space, as they call it, he couldn't do that because he has Parkinson's. And if he leaned over in her jerry chair to give her a hug, he fell. That is what we, my father, and all of the family members members of these residents are suffering from. And I challenge you all to think, how many of you went 14 months without seeing, involuntarily without seeing, hugging, touching, or kissing your loved ones? I dare say none of you have. Involuntarily not seeing your loved ones. That's what I want. I have told administration repeatedly, I will not go. I work in the community. If you're afraid that I'm a risk, I will not go. My father is 83 years old. He goes nowhere. He's fully vaccinated. Let him go. Let him be with his wife of 58 years. That's all I want. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
How many more people want to speak? Just one?
One, two.
Okay, all right.
Hello, my name's Deborah Rodriguez. My father is Raymond, and I believe the flirt that Amy was talking about is him. Before we had to put my father in a nursing home last year, family gatherings were a major part of our lives. Every birthday, every holiday, once a week for card games. And it was just so my father saw his children and his grandchildren. So when we've had to put him up in Essex, we had to curtail our visits. We no longer could see him as a group, because we wanted to make sure that he got visits frequently throughout the week. Essex was kind enough to let us have holidays there with him, because we all live here. Traveling to Essex was difficult. We all work, we have children. So when we got to move down here, we were so happy. We planned on taking him back to our card games, even though somebody had to sit next to him and help him because he has Alzheimer's. He still loved to play pinochle. But then COVID hit 3 days later. And now here we are, and he went from being a flirt, the mayor of Essex is what they called him because he would circulate through everybody, to being an invalid in a wheelchair who can't feed himself. And I know as we watched him deteriorate, and he would talk about, well, they're Nazis to keep me away from you guys. It's been devastating. And I know they've done great at keeping COVID out of the nursing home, and we appreciate it. And when everything happened, I advocated for keeping nursing, you know, we had to do what we had to do. COVID is waning, and frankly, my personal belief is that the virus is probably going to be a fact of life. It's a virus. So we need to take into account, is the cure worse than the disease now? Because now it's time for our loved ones to be loved again. And hopefully we can bring my father back just a little. But it's been heartbreaking, and it's time to reevaluate. It really is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. You'll be the last speaker, Matt.
Hi, my name is Carrie Collins. My mother is Barb Carpenter. She's a resident of the nursing home. I really just wanted to make the point that we truly are not asking for recklessness. We're really just asking for some reason and common sense, and we're asking that our nursing home recognize the emotional toll that this has taken on residents, and to now follow the science and follow the guidelines, and now that people are vaccinated, loosen the restrictions on visitation. My mother is in the end stages of her life. There is nothing more important to her than being with her family. So I am asking each and every one of you to please take this into consideration, and please try to work with this nursing home to change this. These folks just don't have a lot of time to wait for us to continue to debate this. The science is there, the guidelines are there. We are asking this nursing home to follow them. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. All right, Mike, you want to wind up? A couple minutes, summary or anything before we go?
Well, I would just tell you that, I mean, you heard it, we don't want you to be reckless, we don't want that. We just want the ability to go and visit our loved ones. It's pretty simple. It's, you know, and we're willing to work within whatever the guidelines are, as long as the guidelines make sense with what CDC and Department of Health says. And I'll only say that I read them. I'm not a lawyer, I don't have a law degree, but I read them, I think I understood them, and it clearly states that some of the things they're doing are tighter than what we would like. So we ask you guys just to do that on our behalf. And I I say thank you for allowing us to come here and take over your meeting for a little while. We'll get out of here so you can go back to conducting business. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the information. We appreciate it very much.
Mike, I'll send you this stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you all.
We will now go to the committee reports. I will call on the chairperson of each committee, and I'll call the board by committee, starting with Mr. Grounds, Legislature Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Buildings and Grounds Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 14th.
Children and Family Services, Legislator Pop.
Mr. Chairman, the Children and Family Services Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Children and Family Services Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Finance, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, the Finance Committee has not met since the last regular session as well. The Finance Committee was pulled a resolution 362 on Rule 13.2 on today's agenda. The next Finance Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 2nd at 5:15 p.m.
Just a reminder, Chairman, that Cash Fest 3+1 is going to be presenting. The treasurer and I mentioned that we had met with them, and we'll be presenting ways to analyze our money to see if we can earn more money with it.
End of report.
Economic Development, Legislator Wall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Economic Development and County Operations Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Economic Development and County Operations Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 9th at 4 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair.
Health Legislator Hughes. What?
Can I just add something to economic development? Can I add something to economic development?
Certainly, yes.
I just wanted to, I think a lot of people probably saw in the paper, if we all think back to tobacco settlement a couple of years ago, we decided to give some money to the YMCA so they could hire a consultant to determine what might be the best location to expand in Plattsburgh. As we see, they're now working with the city of Plattsburgh, the Oval, the old gym. That was one of the sites that they were looking at years ago when they were starting this, or last year especially. And I'm excited it's happening, and I just wanted to remind everybody that Justin, who came to talk to us from the YMCA, has been working very hard on this, trying to expand the YMCA and offer more indoor and outdoor rec opportunities to kids, especially the court sports and pools and such. Anyway, I think it's good progress, and it's a great example of the city, the town, the county, YMCA, the hospital, and the university all working together to try and solve this problem of, solving the problem that realistically we need more indoor facility space for recreation in the county, especially in the winter.
Health Legislator Hughes.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was pulled on Resolution 338 is on today's agenda. Mr. Canoza and Mr. Day are present to provide a brief update of COVID-19 cases and vaccination.
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mark.
Any better?
Appreciate it.
Quick updates for today. We are in better times now. I can start with that. And it's a breath of fresh air and then some. Yesterday we had one new case. The day before we had 0. We've been in single digits for probably the last week and a half, and that's the real good way to start things off. And we're finally looking better. And we still have K through 12 in school, and we're still doing quite well. So we still have school cases occurring, but they're minimized right now. But overall, our cases are significantly down. We're hoping that carries through at least through the summer into the fall as we ramp up vaccinations, continue them. Vaccinations are continuing. Just this past weekend, we did a small vaccination clinic at the Plattsburgh Housing Authority at the Ted K Center, where Amanda Bullrist, she's a tough lady. She went out and found extra people to get shots. So along with Dr. Rietzma, we're very proud of them for doing that. These are our partners helping this. We couldn't have done all that we have done without all our partners from CAPH, SUNY, you name it, all across the board, other county offices. So just today, we did a dose 2 clinic at the Keysville Fire Department, Shacy School. First school we did this morning was at Shacy School. NAC School this afternoon. We have Saranac School coming up on Thursday, and next week, June 1st, Peru Schools, June 2nd, Osable Valley, and then NCCS will be done on the 3rd of next week. So Saranac, as I said, is coming up on the 27th. So we're full guns blazing. We're out there getting them done, and we're looking anywhere between, with the schools, anywhere between 50, 60, and 100 and something students becoming vaccinated. And most of the schools are allowing walk-ins as they come within the community, which is what we like to see, and become prepared for that. So our vaccination team is straight out, working hard, but we have an end in sight, and that's pretty much the end of next week. We'll go more into a routine of doing standard 1 or 2 vaccination clinics every week. So, but right now the big push is on for the schools right now. So that's all I got. Any questions? Good.
What, 2 questions. What are the current regulations for schools as far as kids wearing masks? And out in the community, what is the recommendation for kids that are under vaccination age?
That are under vaccination. If you're not vaccinated, if you're vaccinated, you have obviously freedom that you had before COVID. You don't need to wear a mask, especially outdoors, unless you're in a big party type of scenario at the city beach and there's a lot of people around. Kids in schools, they are a cut above. They have to be doing it better than anybody because they're schools. And they still require mask wearing in schools currently, yes. But as more and more become vaccinated, that will likely open up for the schools as well as they close in on a higher percent of kids in. Right now, we're looking at the high school age kids, 16 to 18, having already become vaccinated, a majority thereof. Seton Catholic, as a matter of fact. Mary Forbes from Seton Catholic was very proud of the fact that her senior class is all vaccinated. I said, see, there you go. You got a bunch of people vaccinated. You did good. You see what I mean? But for the whole school, primary, middle, and high school, it would be variable, but right now they're all wearing masks right now.
And for the, I mean, how young do we imagine we're going to be vaccinating eventually?
That's a tough thing to foretell.
I mean, do we expect young kids in the community to be wearing masks for the foreseeable future, or?
I'm hoping not, and I'm hoping we're looking right now at Pfizer down to age 2 for vaccinations. That's what they're looking at now, and Moderna is trying like hell to catch up. Moderna wants a piece of that pie. They want to catch up, so stay tuned. I'm telling you, things change daily and weekly. Keeping up with this half the battle. So, yep.
Anything else? Yes, Chris?
What was your involvement with the nursing home, if any?
None really. Providing any guidance that we also got, copying Wendy Bishop on whatever we had received. But yeah, the nursing home is overseen by the State Department of Health, a special branch of the State Health Department. Yes. So, but like schools, they have to be doing it, obviously, better than anybody. But there's always a time and a place when you see numbers coming down like we have now. For the last week and a half, start sitting down and thinking about ways you can work, make a deal, try to find ways that you can improve your visitation and do things better for your residents, as well as the families who are coming there to see their family members. So, yeah.
Anything more for John? Thank you, John. Eric?
No, sir.
You good? Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you again.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
These are good days. Enjoy them. We're going to stay this way.
Legislator Hughes, back to you.
Next House Committee meeting tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st at 4:30.
Thank you. Human Services, Legislator Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Human Services Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Human Services Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 2nd at 4:15. End of report.
Thank you, sir.
Could I just tell them,
Yes, ma'am.
in regards to human services, so, obviously they've touched my heartstrings anyway, the group over here. And I didn't know, do we have a date in place when, the regulations over there will be losing
The,
their?
I would rather have that discussion in the committee setting, but, the regulations have loosened since they've come to us. Obviously, I think they would like that loosened even more. But that is probably an event, as Mr. Curry is going to have that discussion.
I'm gonna discuss that intensely when we have our next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Personnel. The Personnel Committee met on Thursday, May 20th. Resolution number 339 has been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The next Personnel Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 7th at 4 p.m. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislative Hall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Plattsburgh International Airport Committee met earlier. Chris Craig, the airport director, was present to discuss several resolutions and provide an update on the runway closure project. Resolutions 340 through 349 have been placed on tonight's agenda, as well as resolutions 363 through 365 under Waive Rule 13.2. Next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 23rd at 4 o'clock. I will add to this report, I was out at the runway on Monday. The runway is absolutely gorgeous. They're paving. They have the first layer of pavement down, and the next layer of asphalt will be going in as I speak, probably today. It's really coming good, and will definitely meet our time of June 23rd. End of report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Legislator Casson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Public Safety Committee has not met since the regular session. The committee was polled on resolutions number 350 through 352 on today's agenda. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 7th at 5 p.m. End of report.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Maybe this is a question for Mr. Zerlo. You know, based on what we heard from the community on the nursing home, I think it would be worth taking a look at a number of county departments just to see where we're at with COVID regulations and just make sure that we're not being too stringent. Just make sure that we're adjusting with the times and not just leaving things how they were.
Well,
So maybe we could take kind of a blanket approach and peek at a few different departments. Such as public safety with the jail, for instance.
I can tell you that the government center is operating under the dictates of New York State, and as such, fully vaccinated people are able to not wear their masks. I do not know the specifics of the Clinton County Jail, but I certainly can find that out for you. So my point is we have moved based on the guidelines provided us by the state.
Well, I believe that much like the nursing home, the jail is also, the department head is the one who's kind of calling the shots with regulations. So we have Wendy Bishop at the nursing home, we have the warden of the jail. I just think we need to talk to some different departments and make sure that we are not being over strict beyond the state guidelines.
Okay, thank you. Transportation Committee, Legislator Preston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Committee has not met since the regular session. The committee was polled on resolutions number 353 through number 356 on today's agenda. The next Transportation Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 14th at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Liaison reports. Chamber of Commerce, Legislator Conacher, do you have anything?
I met with the chamber to just have a conversation about the different things that are happening for this summer. They've added some, they had a press conference that's supposed to happen tomorrow. adding another.
Legislator Hall will be attending that, yes. You're talking about for the fishing
For
tournaments?
the fishing
Yes.
tournaments, I'll be adding another tournament, but, things are going well, they're looking, still disappointed with the order, but.
All right, thank you. Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board chairman has started putting together some requirements and needs for replacing the executive director, Mary, who will be getting done this year. So we're moving forward on that. Mary did have to make a decision whether or not we were going to be a part of the fair. She had to make the call of being there or not before this looseness of requirements came out, and it was kind of like a week and a half off, I guess, from, she thought that the safest thing was to not be a part of it with everything going on. Now it sort of seems like it may not be such a bad thing, but unfortunately she had to make the call, and they will not be a part of it. I know there's been a little bit of disturbance from it, and some people aren't happy with it, but she was thinking of the kids.
Thank you. The Grievance Committee will have a meeting on June 8th at, what's the time? 9 a.m. June 8th at 9 a.m. The Grievance Committee will meet to hear a grievance that will consist of myself, Legislator Perry, and Legislator Potter. Intercounty, Legislator Walker.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, intercounty for May has been canceled, so our next intercounty meeting will be hosted by us in Clinton County in June.
LC and LG Regional Planning Board, Legislator Kretzer and Hughes.
And meetings are no report.
Soil and Water, Legislators Perrier or Timmons.
Yeah, I've got just a couple of things, Francis. So we'll be doing a couple of tire recycling things that we've done in the past. Each person in the county is able to bring 10 tires for recycling. The next one is going to be in Plattsburgh next week, and another one later in Saranac. They just ask that you call Soil and Water and request a position, a spot, and how many tires, so that they have some understanding that how many tires that they may be getting in, and actually kind of do a cutoff at some point. Too many people are bringing them. So that has always gone very well. So another couple of tractor trailer loads of tires out of the area would be great.
That was June 4th, I'm sorry.
What's that?
Was that June 4th?
I don't have the date, but Patty, I can get it to you though. We also have 2 part-time interns coming in this year to help out, and as well as looking to finally fill the open technician position. The person had left after being at the Soil and Water for a short period of time, but then with COVID, we decided that it would best not to fill the position because of not as much in the field work going on. Things are starting to pick up, so we'll be looking at filling that second technician's position.
Thank you. Workforce Development Board, Legislator Kretzer.
So there's been a few kind of grant extensions and new grants that the Northern Tier Workforce Development Board and Workforce Partnership are facilitating. One was an extension of an opioid grant to help people with training services. A second was a CFA grant, very similar to the opioid grant, that's also just to help people with training services to get enrolled in university and certification programs, and then any supportive services that would go along with it. There's also a rural healthcare grant that we are helping to administer to help upskill people who work in the healthcare industry. So that has just started about a month ago. And also the executive director, Sylvie Nelson, requested at some time at an appropriate meeting in the coming months she'd like to come and give kind of a report to the legislature. So I'm not sure when that would be and when it would happen. Sometime she's made that request that she'd love to see all of us and talk about what's been happening and everything going on kind of coming out of COVID.
Okay, thank you. Staff reports. Mr. Favreau, do you have any reports?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, sir. Mr. Zerlo.
Just very briefly, update on the American Rescue Plan money that amounts to $0 and 0 cents so far. We have not received our first tranche, although other counties have. Treasurer's office checks every day, but as of this afternoon, we have not gotten our electronic transfer, although we are signed up in the portal and waiting. The Treasurer's office, Kim and I are getting a little more clarity on the Treasury regulations, outlining what we're able and not able to do with the money. So it's becoming, the fuzziness is becoming a tad clearer.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the resolutions.
And I apologize, I mean, there are good breakdowns on both the Association of Counties website and the National Association of Counties website. If you're at all interested in a synopsis of the Treasury guidelines.
Resolutions. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based on the recommendation of those committees. Mr. Zerlo, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Certainly. Resolution 337 adopting local law number 1, 2021, titled, A Local Law Adopting Pilot Youth Deer Hunting Program, Legislature.
Motion, legislator Castine, second legislator Hall. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 338, amending Resolution 294 dated May 12, 2021, titled, Authorizing Lease Agreement with 518 Strength and Conditioning, Mental Health and Addiction.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second legislator Castine. Discussion?
Just very briefly, we talked about this resolution, and lo and behold, there was the baseline year was off, and as such, all the other items were off, so we did catch and correct that in this resolution, which resulted in a little more revenue.
Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 339, approving appointment of the Director of Real Property Tax Services, Real Property.
Motion, legislator Castine, motion legislator Castine, second legislator Henry. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Lacy is in the audience today.
I see her hiding over there. Yeah, star.
We had a very good presentation and discussion at the Personnel Committee. And, you know, I think it was certainly unanimous that Tammy's name be put forward to legislature for full consideration. I have known Tammy for, oh, good golly, 40 years or so.
About that.
And worked with her for the last 16, and excited that she's now part of our management team, assuming 6 votes here in a second. And I think the office of Real Property Services will be well served by her captaincy.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you. I know you're going to do a great job.
Thank you very much.
You did a good job in the interview. Very good.
It was definitely different.
Well, it's never fun.
No.
Resolution 340, authorizing master services agreement with C&S Engineers Incorporated for periodic professional services, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
You don't have to state that. You can sneak out if you want.
All right, thank you.
If you do, that'll be too generic.
Not a good way to start.
Tell them I already voted.
That's okay.
Thank you very much.
You go.
I could be gone already.
Resolution 341, authorizing contract with C&S Engineers Incorporated for limited hazardous materials evaluation services for building 2712 Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second legislator Perrier. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 342, authorizing lease agreement with Adirondack Salt and Sand LLC, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second legislator Boddicker. Note that legislator Perrier recused himself. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 343, authorizing contract with ASA Abloy Entrance Systems, Plattsburgh International.
What was that name again?
You said it better than I did.
ASA Abloy.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 344, authorizing de-icing pad and fluid collection system design project grant acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 345, authorizing contract with Record USA for installation of exit lane breach control triple conversion system upgrade. Boy, no one's getting past that already.
We got the triple, Bobby got us a triple conversion. They tried to voice that double conversion up on us, but no way. Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Poirier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 346, authorizing extension to planned maintenance agreement with Record USA Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 347 has been withdrawn this evening. Resolution 348, authorizing contract amendment with Train US Incorporated, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 349, authorizing contract amendment with Johnson Controls Fire Protection LP, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Poirier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 350, authorizing contract with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, alternatives to incarceration plan and funding probation.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 351, authorizing contract with New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, 2021-2022 probation, state aid, block grant funding, and program plan probation.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Poirier. Discussion. Roll call.
Yeah, I'd just like to remind everybody that years ago, those two numbers, the county cost and contract amount were even. They're now not even as the state of New York has whittled the local or the state share down and the county share up over the years.
Shock. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 352, amending Resolution 830 dated December 22, 2020, titled, amending Resolution 720 dated November 10, 2020, titled, authorizing various contracts for the year 2021 emergency services.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 353, authorizing the county treasurer to adjust appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, Highway Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 354, authorizing contract amendment with SimQuest Group Incorporated, Highway.
Motion, legislator Kretzer. Second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 355, authorizing supplemental agreement number 1 with Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for the rehabilitation of Main Street Bridge over the Osable River, bridge identification number 3359920, Highway Department.
Motion, legislator Kretzer. Second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 356, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible cost of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore, Highway Department.
Motion, legislator Kretzer. Second, legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 357, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Stewart's Grant, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 358, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the fiscal year 2020 State Homeland Security Grant Program Emergency Services.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 359, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Programs, Highway Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 360, a resolution authorizing the issuance of $500,000 in serial bonds of the County of Clinton, New York to pay the cost of construction of improvements to and reconstruction of various county-owned buildings and facilities in and for said county.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion.
This is the bond resolution for our 2021 master plan.
Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Like motion to waive, I'd like a motion to waive Rule 13.2. Motion legislator Hall, second by legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 361, approving appointment of Jody L. Courier as Board of Elections Commissioner, Board of Elections.
5-5 on this?
Yeah.
We have 5, right? 5-5? Okay. Discussion? I'd just like to say, I know this is about Jody, but before I get to Jody, I'd like to thank Greg for all that he's done, because he's only got a few more days to go. Two. 48 hours, good God. You can sit on the edge of a dime and swing your feet, you're so short.
I like that, you might use that someday.
Greg, thank you for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll see you before you go, but.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and I know I said this once before, but I'm very appreciative of the legislature, of Mike, for the great support that you've given our department over the years, and it's been an honor for me to serve. But I have to tell you that you're going to get somebody to take my place that will have no problem filling my shoes.
That's good, we look forward to doing it. I know she'll do a great job.
I didn't know her feet were that big.
You gotta wait till they say it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, yes, sir.
I want to thank all of you guys at Board of Elections. It's a very stressful job. Sometimes it tends to be, when it rains it pours kind of job, I guess. And you deal with a lot of customers, or whatever you want to call them, people you're helping, that often are in frustrating situations where something has happened and they're stressed out. You deal with a lot of crisis, and you've always been fun to work with and a positive presence there, and I appreciate that. And you have big shoes to fill, but I think you've been enjoying the work too, so happy to see the transition.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it very much. I do have big shoes.
You don't have to stay either if you want to stay.
Good, we're going.
If I only had 2 days left, I'd go too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah, they were.
Bye.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Resolution 362, authorizing contracts for energy engineering services with Mental Energy Services LLC, Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion.
So this is simply allowing them to do the study. This is not committing the legislature to doing any of the projects that may be outlined in the study. What this does, if you recall, is if this contract is, I'm generalizing the amount of money here because my math is not that good, but $150,000, NYSERDA pays half of that, and if we entertain a project worth the other half of that, NYSERDA will then reimburse us. And I am here to tell you that I know of several non-controversial projects that have to be done anyway, so there's very little, actually there's no risk in having this study done. At the very least, if you do nothing else, you've got a free study to look at and use any way you see fit. So, I did push it up 2 weeks for my email request because some of those projects that I was just referencing have to do with fixing of systems for the next heating system. So the quicker we can get the study done, the study needs to be done before those projects are eligible to be part of the reimbursement process. So that's why we moved it up 2 weeks.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 363, authorizing rehabilitation of taxiway pavement and general aviation apron Phase 1 construction grant application, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Legislator Hall, second, Legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Before I forget it, Bob, I just want to, they're doing a great job out of that airport. I saw those pictures, I listened to your report that we had earlier in your committee meeting, and with all that work to do out there, I'm pretty impressed by what I see, so thanks for your leadership on it. You've done a good job.
Thank you, John.
I have one last thing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I did meet, the crew was in town having lunch or something, and they were really nice guys, all very happy, positive things to say about the airport, the project. Just nice guys that seemed like they were a really good team and worked well together, so happy to see it.
I'm sorry, son. Thank you. I lost my place. Let's see. So we
just need to call the roll.
What's that?
We have a motion.
We got the motion, right?
Yes, we're on.
Oh, so we don't.
Yeah.
All right.
All this talking is throwing me off.
I know, me too. Motion, Legislator.
No. Resolution 364, authorizing rehabilitation of taxiway pavement and general aviation apron Phase 2 design project grant acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Legislator Hall, second, Legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 365, authorizing temporary precision approach pathway indicator system project grant acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Legislator Hall, second, Legislator Conacher. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Does anyone have anything else to come before the legislature? I'm sorry. Yes.
We're gonna have any discussion at all over the nursing home while we were tonight?
Tonight? No, but I think what we can do is, well, we can do whatever let me rephrase that. We can do whatever the legislature wishes to do. I think it's something that maybe needs to go to the committee to talk about that there as quickly as possible. Maybe even have a special meeting to talk about that. That'd be up to the chair of the committee and the members. But I would urge them to do that. And then once they come out of committee, we'll see what their recommendations are. Because I'm sure they will want to talk to the nursing home to find out how they might be able to accommodate these things. So that would be my suggestion, but obviously, we will do whatever the legislature wants done.
Well, I only brought it up because if you have any thoughts on it, I'd like to hear it.
I think, Mr. Perrier, maybe the prudent thing to do at your meeting, whenever it may be, it's scheduled for June 2nd, but if you want to schedule something really fine, invite the legislature to that meeting.
Okay, I'm inviting everybody there.
Okay.
How's that?
Well, we can send you stuff.
I'd like some opinions and some thoughts. I mean, we are getting toward the end of COVID.
You want to do something?
Actually, I want to see if I can go up there and talk to her, see what she's loosening up, if she's loosening up any of the regulations. And then we'll have something to discuss at the meeting.
When was that meeting again?
June 2nd.
Just got moved, right?
Right.
Right.
Just Tuesday
1st, 4:15.
Okay, everybody good with that? Everybody got that? June 1st? Those like your 10th? I'm sure that anybody can give you a call, send you an email or whatever if they, okay?
Feel free to contact me.
All right. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. May I have a second? I have a motion from Legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.
My 11th